This is Nicko on the mic. Milanista Report. We break it down right for the culture, for the tactics, for the game. AC Milan forever repping the name. It's Nicko in the booth, bringing truth to the scene. Milanista Report, freshest vibe you ever seen. When it comes to the fence, ain't nobody sharper. Breaking down rules like I'm Paulo's partner. Maldini on the line, that's where it all starts. Tactical knowledge, hitting hard like street smarts. Every episode, man, is deeper than the stats. I'm dropping game plans like I'm playing with the cats. Mercenary pride, this ain't no side hustle. Analyzing plays with that mob deep muscle. From the back line to the final third press, it's all love from Milan, ain't no second guess. The Milanista Report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay inflamed for the love of Milan. Paulo's name and lights, we the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista Report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that mercenary tack. Yo, it's deeper than just watching the goals and the hype. We study every battle, the defensive type. From Maldini to Baresi, I break down the flow. Nicko in the cut, giving y'all the real show. This podcast ain't a game, it's a masterclass. Peep the backline setups, every tackle, every pass. Other pods just talk, but they miss the details. We focus on the struggle where the legends prevail. Talking Paulo Maldini, the heart of the club. Ain't no faking the passion, this love ain't a dub. I'm the voice of the fans, for the love of the crest. They see Milan forever, we only rock with the best. With Milanista Report, the realest in the game. Nicko with the knowledge, always stay inflamed for the love of Milan. Paulo's name and lights, we the source for tactics, always taking flight. Milanista Report, ain't no doubt it's the best. We breaking down the system, every move we assess. From the defensive grind to the team's attack, Nicko got your back with that mercenary tack. Other pods, nah, they just scratching the surface. Nicko go deep, showing y'all the purpose. AC Milan ain't just about winning the race, it's about structure, unity, and defensive grace. So tune in, get schooled by the best in the game. Milanista Report, steady rising in fame. Nicko repping hard for the red and the black. Paulo's spirit lives on and we never look back. Milanista Report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista Report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista Report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista Report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw. Milanista Report, the voice of the streets. Defensive tactics like you never heard before. Nicko's got the knowledge, you know we stay raw.
What's going on, Rosanetti, Milan Nation? Early start today. All right, on the Milanista Report, episode 12. All right, this is the Derby preview. I'm doing it kind of early, actually, because I'm actually heading out to vacation. Much needed vacation from work, from Milan, well, especially from management, from certain fans out there, crazy ass fans saying crazy ass shit. And certain podcasts are driving me nuts as well. I need a vacation from all y'all, everybody. So that being said, I'm your host, Nicko from Defensive Dynamo, Milanista Report. Let's get this show on the way. Let's go, Milan Nation. All right. So obviously, as we know, this Sunday we're playing our beloved cousins, all right, who just went into Man City this past week, right? 2 days ago, and fucking defended like we should be defending. They made Italy proud the way they defended. All right. As much as I hate to say that, they defended fucking lockdown Man City. All right. Even when Man City had a couple of shots, man, they closed them down hard. Made it super difficult to get a clean shot on goal, a clean look. All right, even our fucking Hakan the Snake was fucking a demon. All right. But enough of that. Obviously, our game against Liverpool wasn't so hot. Right. We lost 3-1. We went over it on my previous pods, right? On the episode 11 and episode 11.5, right? The bonus pod, right? Which I cooked a couple people as well. Really so. They had it coming for a long time, right? And I gave some context around it as well. So you don't think I'm some kind of asshole for just cooking people for no valid reason, all right? There's always a purpose with me. Hey, by the way, good news. I finally got my shipment from our storage, right, up in Phoenix, Arizona. This came finally. My Milan Club Boston scarf came. A couple other items too. A Milan ball that I picked up in San Siro at the Milan, the museum, the main store back in 2022. 2007 official ball from the match from Athens. A few other items as well, and I'll be putting it back here on this over in this back wall in the next couple of weeks. Still waiting for my neon light logo to come in for the show. But let's get on with the game coming up. All right, let's not lose focus because I gotta go in a couple. I can't be on here for 2 hours today. All right, so obviously Inter. So let's get into Inter the way we need to. A couple of things about Inter. They've been playing great, and this is something we need to consider coming up. All right, how is Milan going to structure their team, especially Fonseca? Right, because we've seen in the past that Pioli's gotten a high press. He's trying to press him, and it's failed time and time again. Chow got burnt against Thuram at one game, right? He was left on an island by himself. He got fucking smoked time and time again. And Fonseca plays a similar style. He's leaving his center backs isolated. In this case, it's probably going to be Chow and Pavlovic. All right. And for sure, Inter's going to take advantage of that, especially Pavlovic, knowing he makes reckless challenges. He's out of position, right? And doesn't have the defensive awareness. Yeah, he's not there yet. Doesn't have that defensive IQ yet. He might have it one day, but not right now. So that's one thing to look for, is Inter is going to take advantage of Pavlovic's physicality into their advantage and his reckless challenges, especially tomorrow as well. He's known for that stuff as well. You've seen it time and time again. He loses focus as well. Both the other same the same profile center back. That's what Gabi should be playing, but I don't think it's going to happen because Gabi is more composed, more of a leader back there. All right, has that defensive IQ that we talked about, being that he grew up in the Italian system, which is important because the Italian system by nature is historical facts. Focus on defending, especially in the younger leagues when he's coming up through in the ranks. All right, so let's go through the possible lineup. So one thing, actually, let me get into a few things about Inter, the way we should be worried about them. All right, so obviously they played great defense. They also broke Man City's press time and time again. And I'm going to get into how they're able to do that, how they're able to break presses, and how they're structured out on the pitch and how they're attacking so fast. But let's look at a possible lineup. So in the last lineup against Man City, they went with Jan Sommer, Bostoni, Acerbi, Bisek. Bisek played, right? You had to start. You had Agostu, Zelensky, Kalanogu, Barella, Darmian, Taremi, and Thuram. It looks like, according to various sources, Lautaro's going to be ready for this game. He's going to be playing next to Thuram and that two striker formation up front. Right, Bisek is going to be taken out for Pavard. Looks like he's coming back in, I believe. And Mitrian, the one man who's fucking has been a pain in our asses the last few derbies. I don't know what it is with this man. He looks broken sometimes, but when he comes to play with Milan, he's always finding that space. He's always cutting in on those third man runs that we talked about time and time again. All right, he's going there unmarked inside the box, and he's getting uncontested shots on goal, high quality shots on goal. And he's made us pay for it time and time again. So that's what they look like. That's probably the most possible starting 11 for Inter in this game. Us, most likely, we're going to stick with our 4-2-3-1, right? Most likely, Mike's is going to play. He looks like he's healthy according to reports. Even though he got hurt in the last game, but it looks like he's okay. Looks like I think either Calabria or toss up between Calabria and Royale. It doesn't really matter at this point. They're both underperforming. They're both not up to standard to be playing for Milan at this point. They're both, besides being extremely slow. So let me get into the speed factor for a minute, because I know that some people focus on that. Kyle Walker has speed, right? But he relies on his speed. He's a speed merchant, right? That's what they call him, because he relies on his speed too much, which a lot of times leaves him out of position. If you're in the right position, if you're, if you got a play that's fast in you, the golden rule is with defending is to be an arm length away from them. You stick your arm out, and you are one arm length away from them, behind them, right? Especially when they have the ball. Positioning is extremely important. Even before they receive the ball, positioning is extremely important. If you're in the right position before they receive the ball, there's a good chance, if you're reading the game, you're seeing where the pass is coming, you're reading the way the pass, the weight of the pass, the speed of the pass, noticing their first touch, right? If the touch is bad, if they're starting off slow, you make adjustments. Or if the pass is weak, you get in front of the ball, you cut in front of the attacker, you put your body in front of them, and you try to take the ball away from them. All right. This is thing that a high quality defender should be doing. Royale doesn't do that, and Calabria doesn't do that anymore. All right. So speed is not everything. Speed helps, of course, obviously. You can't be fucking, slowish, you need to have some speed. But you don't have to have speed for days. You don't have to be some track star. You don't have to be Usain Bolt out there to be a really good defender. A lot of it's about positioning and reading the game, knowing where your opponent's going to be, where they want to be. If you're there first, if you know their favorite spot on the pitch where it is, please, for a striker, you're there first. You beat them to the punch. All right? So, that being said, let's move on to the rest of the lineup. Looks like double pivot, most likely. I'm going to take a guess. It's going to be Fofana and Loftus-Cheeks. I wouldn't be surprised if it was otherwise. All right. I see Tijani probably playing the number 10 again. If Fonseca knows what's good for him. If he wants to have a chance to be competitive in this game. And then probably Morata's going to start, Leao and then Pulisic on the right. But for Christ, I don't see how I don't see him changing formations. If he does go to a 4-3-3 at this late stage formation that I've said before, he does know how to coach, and you don't have time to prep for it. If he's going into this game trying to be outsmart himself and thinking he can teach his players a 4-3-3 and be ready to play that effectively against interval teams, you're asking for fucking trouble. It's going to be worse. Just stick to what you know. The 4-2-3-1, we've been playing it since the preseason. That's what Fonseca is known to play majority of the time. You stick to it, right? And hope for the best. So anybody in the chat? We got 3 people. I think Shane's in the chat. Shane, whoever's in the chat as well. Give me your thoughts on the game really quick. All right. Let's go on to key matchups, right? So we went over the possible formations. So that's probably the formations we're going to see on Sunday's derby. So key matchups. So the matchups that need to look for. Well, first, before we get into that, let's get into a quick thing about, matter of fact, let's do that next. Let's do it that way, the way I had it planned originally. Let's stick to the format. Key matchups. So the key matchups we need to look for is Leao, for one. All right, on that left side. It's going to be marked by Pavard. Now, in the last game, Leao, most of the game, he had a couple of occasions. The majority of the game, Trent Alexander, who's not known to be the best defender, he's a decent defender for EPL. He's a good right back. He had locked him down the majority of the game. Leao had a chance near the end, like an extra time. He hit the post. But overall, Trent Alexander pocketed him. So that's one key matchup. Can Leao beat Pavard 1v1? But he's going to have a lot of help there too. Because the way, obviously, Inter's, they got that midfield stacked up, and they're always helping each other out. We saw with the Man City game, they're always helping each other out. They're always backtracking, like Hakan. Barella's on that side as well. Darmian, you got Dumfries as well. Yeah, Dumfries is going to play for Agosto. Forgot about Dumfries. He should be playing, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But that's one matchup. Leao on the left side against Barella, Darmian, Pavard. Right? And then there's our striker, Morata, with Acerbi. Acerbi pocketed. He handled Haaland pretty well. And Morata, he struggled in the last game. He was complaining a lot. He was soft, in my opinion. I expected more out of him, being that he holds the experience being the captain of the Spain national team, played for Atletico. We need to see more out of Morata today. Sunday. We need to see more out of him. All right? Because Acerbi is a tough defender. He knows the dark arts. He'll pull your shirt. He'll tug it. He'll, jump over your back to get to a header before you do. Use you as leverage, which is, little tactics, little things that really good defenders do. All right. Acerbi is a experienced defender and knows all these tricks to get the better of you. That's another one. Then we got Pulisic against Bastoni, probably Zelensky on that side too, backtracking. And whoever's going to play against next to Zelensky. That's another one we need to look at, another key matchup for us. Pulisic, because if Leao's being locked down on the left side, Pulisic needs to do his job on the right. All right. And then we have to see how our, obviously Theo, what he can do with Liao on that left side. How can they link up and try to find space, any kind of space to exploit on Inter's side, under his back line? Can they find those spaces to create those opportunities, the little 1-2s, give and goes, overlaps, underlaps, all right, that we see that they've done when they're playing really well together, all right? And for us, another one, so this, for us, our matchup defensively is how our center backs are going to contain Thuram and Lautaro, right? We're going to play, they play that zonal. Most likely they're going to fall back when they're out of that press. They're going to probably play a 4-2-4, something we saw them play against Liverpool. They started out with a 4-3-4 defense formation, but they might go back to a 4-2-4. Let's see how that reacts. How can our midfielders, our double pivots, can they recover the balls? Can they win their challenges up the pitch, in the middle of the pitch, recover and start the counter, right? Because if we try to play this, passing the ball, trying to control possession, it's going to be even worse for us. So you got to get it together. All right. So those are some of the major key matchups you need to look for. Now, in terms of what we're going to do, how will Milan win this game? All right. So let me get into Inter. So this is what Inter is really doing really well. So there's a tactical analyst out there. He studied in Italy. He's got some really good background. He's got a YouTube channel called Football Meta. And he talked about tactical revolution that Inzaghi is doing this year. So he's even changed things up a bit. So in the past, when they're building up, so they rotate players. So what they're doing Inter is really interesting for an Italian team. We see Motta do a little bit with interchanging positions with his players, but like Inzaghi's doing it a little bit more extreme. If you think of De Zerbi being very positional, having players at set positions, Inzaghi is on the opposite side of that spectrum. So the first thing is called universal players. So players don't have, even though they're assigned a 6 position, number 6 or number 3, or whatever on the pitch. That's what their starting point. When they're building up the ball, they're spreading out, and they're always switching positions. So you might see a left back moving to the midfield. You might see a midfielder moving over to the right side of the pitch or the left side. You see a center back, like a left back Bastoni, he goes up as well on the build up, and they're spacing out and they're creating all these angles for each other. But it becomes such a problem for teams to defend, right? You saw it with Atletico on the first leg. They couldn't, with their press, they couldn't deal with that interchanging of players on the pitch. Players constantly moving, free flowing, moving where the ball is. Playing that very relationship type of football that we've spoken about in the past, right? And they're creating these, and their spacing is extremely well as well. Inter spacing is fucking great. Something we can learn about as a team. All right, because our spacing is off so many times, we're not linking up. That's why we see our players isolated sometimes out there, because they don't have that support. They don't have somebody creating that depth. Another person making that run, right? Creating those diamonds, those triangles. And if you look at their passing patterns of Inter, they're always interlinking with each other, always creating those patterns, those shapes, and those angles for each other, and that creating that open space, right, and support for each other, because they're universal players. The other thing is called space structure, what we just spoke about, is the spacing out in the field. They're spacing out in a certain way especially on the buildups, where they're forcing other teams, right, to lose their structure. Because as when you're in a defensive phase, you want to be compact out of the pitch, right? You want your front line, your mid line, and your back line spaced out, right? But not too spaced out, right? Every coach has a predetermined space in between each line, right? I think with when Milan had with Saki, he had like 80 meters. Let me take a quick break. I forget these numbers, but under Saki, spacing, Milan. Let me get my numbers right. I forget these numbers. When he was coaching our beloved Milan, so he had this. Meters. Yeah. So what I was just saying about compact blocks, the space between the lines, the front, middle, and back. He had told his players at Milan, Saki, 25 meters between the defensive and the front lines. Right. So when you have those specific spacing, right, 25 meters in this case. Most coaches are doing this today as well. So say Fonseca is doing 25 meters between the defensive and front lines. If the front line is 40 meters away now, then you got space between those lines, space that teams like Inter will exploit, especially on the buildup. So when we're pressing man to man, this is the thing that we need to look at on Sunday's game. When we're pressing man to man, that's what we do. If our front line is 40 meters away and not 25, for example, all right, that it's going to cause problems for us. And Inter's going to expose it. They're going to find those spaces between the lines, right? The open space, because you need time and space most teams to be successful. And with the way they're playing, they're free flowing, the universal players and their structural spacing. That's what they're gonna look for. That's what they're gonna try to do, is spacing the other team out, making Milan lose their shape, get separated from each other, and boom, that's how they're gonna build up and attack quickly. And the third thing, I just said it, they attack quickly. That's what another thing Inter does, right? Is they attack fast. They don't waste time. All right, the minute they see a chance to attack, they're not going to pass the ball back to Summer. They're going to hit you quickly. All right, and we've seen it with last year, the UCL. We saw it again yesterday against Man City. How when they find that spacing and they have the defensive team, the other team, out of their shape and their spacing's off because of what they're doing to them by spacing players out on the pitch appropriately and interchanging players like that, free flowing and confusing the other team. The other team loses its shit and they just go into the attack mode. Let's see what's going on with the chat, and I'll continue on with my analysis. All right, so that's the big one. That's the first key to our success, is can we maintain our shape for this game, this derby that we need to compete in. If we want to not get our asses handed to us again, all right, like we have for the last 6 times, and go for a 7th loss, the first thing we need to get we need to focus on is our space and make sure we don't get disjointed between the lines. If it's 25 meters, right? Like Saki played with Milan, for example. Just use that as a baseline, right? Then if all 10 players are pressing, this is another important thing about pressing. I've said it again and again. If Liao is motivated and he's pressing as well, if all 10 players are pressing as a cohesive unit, like a pack of rabid wolves, right? Just like what Gasparini has with his team with at Atlanta. Like even after when he had played and they had gone in and they just played the other day, right, against Arsenal. And it was 0-0. It was a really good game tactically. It was one of the best 0-0 games I've ever seen in a long time. Both teams defended pretty well. And after the game, they interviewed Saka, I think. Yeah, and Saka's like, "Yo, I've never seen this kind of type of man-to-man fucking pressing in my life. Teams like this in EPL don't defend like this." So that's like a shout out to Gasparini and what he's doing with his club. All right. Now, if Milan could replicate that to even to 80% of how Atlanta is pressing like against Inter, they can get motivated and want to defend. Right? It's going to cause Inter not to be able to build up as quickly as they want. It's going to slow down that rhythm, that cadence they like. Once they hit their rhythm, they're firing on all cylinders. Right? Just like in a fight, when you're boxing, you're looking for that rhythm, looking for your timing and your space between you and your opponent, right, to get your shots in. Be it you're pulling out the jab, or that right cross, or whatever, or even in kickboxing, you're looking for that space and that time and that rhythm. Pop, pop, pop. Once you find that rhythm, you're good to go, and that's what Inter looks to do on their build-up. But if Milan could press cohesively and press as a unit and keep their lines together, their front line, it doesn't get too disjointed from the back line. That space in those pockets is between get closed down. You're closing those spaces down. You're closing those options down for Inter. So that's the first key thing to our success is that. Second one, can our midfielders, our wingers, forwards be aggressive enough when they're 50-50 balls, right? And for the counter press. So once we lose the ball, are we able to close down on Inter, on whoever has the ball, and get the ball back in favorable positions? That's the second one. If we're able to do that as well, we did it against Venezia, we didn't do it against Liverpool. Our counter press was awful, and that mostly falls directly on our front line, all right, and our midfielders. So I'm hoping Fofana especially shows me something. Loftus Cheeks, if he's playing next to him, shows me something. I doubt it. I don't have a lot of faith in those two right now because they haven't shown me anything right now in the midfield. They're not ball winners to me at this point. All right, and they're always out of position. And if they can be in the right position, they're not out of position. They're working together as a unit. There's double pivot. They're communicating with each other, right? Closing down the passing lanes, being aggressive, taking good tactical fouls in the middle of the pitch, not in our end of the field, like Fofana did the other day. That's another thing. If we can do that, we have a chance to win as well, or even tie the game. So everybody who just tuned in, we're going over the key points for us to win or be competitive in this derby. All right. So like man-to-man pressing, can we press? Can we close down on Inter? Don't allow them to quickly build up and attack quickly, right? Because Inter has that universal play, and they're changing positions. They move around the pitch. Their spacing is really well because they're trying to find those open gaps between the defense, the lines, and trying to get Milan out of their structure, trying to spread them out, because instead of being compact. Next thing is, if our man-to-man pressing is not working, if Inter is continually breaking the lines, countering quickly, can Fonseca have the ability to make in-game tactical changes? I haven't seen it yet. So is he be able to go to a zone press or a hybrid, something that Mota does? Well, he definitely did it at Bologna too. Can he change things up, throw Inter's rhythm off? So now if you're switching to a zonal press, just like in any other sport, if something's not working, you try to throw a new layer of like a defensive scheme on a team, right? Like in basketball, you go to a man-to-man, then you go to a box and one, whatever. Like they used to play. Can you throw their rhythm off by changing things up to, say, a zonal press? All right. I don't know if he's teaching that to his players, to the team, but if he's doing that, let's see if he can do that. Or if not, does he have the ability to change, to have his team play in a mid-block? All right. Because, and cut off the middle of the pitch. Something we've seen teams do against us, like Parma did it against us. They closed down the middle of the pitch on their mid-block, and they forced us to go wide. Because if we're able to go to a mid-block and cut off the middle of the pitch, in that way, we're in a mid-block now. Also, you're preventing Inter from countering quickly. Now, if you're falling back a little bit, right, because Inter wants you to press, especially a team like Milan, because they're not known for we're not a good pressing team. Can we go to a mid-block and throw Inter off as well a little bit? Give them something else to think about. Now they have to change their mentality and say, okay, how do we break this mid-block? Because we weren't ready for this. We weren't prepared for this. All right. But again, things like this takes time. I don't know if Fonseca's working through this through the week or through the season. All right. And the third key thing is our set piece defending. So we play man-to-man. Not man-to-man. I'm sorry. Zonal marking on set pieces. This is what Pioli did for the last two seasons at Milan. And we saw against Liverpool on those first two goals, the zonal marking didn't work, because in the second time, on both occasions, they got the matchup that they wanted, Liverpool, right? And Mike should have done a better job getting out of his line, maybe punching the ball out, using his big frame. But I think in the first one, I think tomorrow was in his way, or the second time, I forget. So he didn't have the opportunity to do that. But can Fonseca change it up to a man marking? That's another big piece. All right, so now we dictate the matchups out there, instead of having the opposing team dictate the matchups for us by creating screens, which teams do on set pieces. All right, they'll screen you and they'll get you to lose your player, your marking. Especially if you're going to man-to-man. But we'll see. And there's other thing too I wanted to talk about is little things that you can do as a defender if you're being outside. So if you're marking somebody, especially the cross comes in and you're a little bit shorter. There are little things you can do to kind of level those things out, that size difference. First is getting into a better position, getting to that spot first, just like a rebound in basketball. All right. Reading where the direction the ball is coming from, the speed, like the pace of the cross coming in, or the corner kick. and getting into that space first and getting a head start before your opponent does. And second, if you're behind them, there's little tricks as well. You know, make sure you're not being caught. You might get caught. You may not by the referee. Is using your opponent player as leverage to get some extra height on your jump, or make sure you get enough body on him to be physical with him, so when he goes up for that header, you make a little bit of contact. You take that path away so they don't get enough power on that header, or they just hit it wide. So there are things that you can do as a defender when you're going up against a taller player to help you, either get to the header first or take that power away from those headers so they don't get it in and score goals. Let's check the chat. So those are the 3 key matchups. All right. That if we're able to do at least 2 of those, we might have a chance to go out with at least a tie. Be competitive in these derbies for once. Let's look at the chat. Let's talk Milan. What's up? Nice seeing you again. Yeah. Let's just go through the chat real quick. I got it bot right on. Cheap viewers on. All right. Let's do it. This looks like a legit website. Doesn't have any malware or nothing. No fucking won't steal my credentials. I don't know if I'll watch the derby. It's a real struggle. I have a low tolerance to pain. It already hurts as it is. Yeah, I won't be watching the derby, by the way. I'll be on vacation. I'm cutting myself, disconnecting completely. No Twitter, no WhatsApp messages, no football at all. I'll watch it when I get back on Monday. All right, for my trip. I'll be at the beach the next couple of days, sipping on cocktails, eating seafood. I'm eating tacos, doing nothing else but that. Staying away from all the negative energy online. I'm not gonna get into that. And my man Shane's in the house too. Forza Redbird, baby. Yeah, Forza Redbird. That's right. That's for you, Jerry. Oh, quick thing about management. Listen, I said it online. If regardless of what coach we get, I don't if it's Tudor, if it's Sarri, Tuchel, whoever, it won't change what damage Redbird has done to the team, ripping the soul of the team apart at all. All right, and the other point is, they're not going to give them the support. Do you think that Redbird is actually going to turn a 180 and give the coach the power or the ability to input on what players he needs? Because say if Klopp comes in, he plays a 4-2-3-1 as well, but his double pivot midfielders need to be high level, need to be able to defend. Would Redbird allow him to get those players? I doubt it. Could he make them better defenders? I don't know. He's done it with Trent Alexander. He turned him into a beast. Could have the ability for Klopp to turn at least one player to a better player, develop him? It's possible. But he's not going to get support. Klopp's too big of a figure, too big of a personality for Jerry. He can't handle it. And imagine him and Ibra going at it with Klopp, because Klopp doesn't take shit from anybody. So it doesn't matter who they're going to get. Long term, it's not going to fix what Redbird has done to this club. They've ruined my club, this club that I love, this club. So, fuck you, Redbird. Malaka. Malakes. Let's continue with the chat. Yeah, I don't want... So, Tudor really quick. So, I saw this yesterday, too. Yeah, it's not the name that we want, but from a tactical point of view, I do like him. I'm gonna get some shit for this. I don't want him as a coach. I don't think he's got the experience. I don't think he has the fortitude. I don't think he has it with him to coach a team like Milan. But tactically speaking, just leave tactics for a second. He does play a back three, which would benefit us more. So if the back three would be our best type of formation, then you have Gabi on the pitch, our best playmaking center back, our best overall center back. I don't care anybody else has to say about that. You are wrong about Gabi not being our best center back overall. All right? Because we've seen it time and time again. Gabi makes the best decisions out there. He makes some mistakes, but not as much as Tomori or Pavlovic. All right? Because he knows where to be on the pitch, like we said about that, being in the right position and reading the game. Gabi does that really well. So, fuck, Tudor comes in. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. But tactically, I do like him, but it's not going to fix anything at all. I know Shane's out there working out. He's working out his 4 days of hanging out with Vinny from Milan Weekly Podcast. What are our chance of winning the inner game? Like I said, the key, if we can hit on those, at least two of those key points, if we can press effectively, all right, and keep our structure, we don't get too spaced out. If our front line and our back line, say 25 meters apart and don't get separated, don't get disjointed, we have a chance. And if we can, defend better on set pieces and counter press effectively, right? Win our 50-50 challenges, we have a chance. If those things don't happen, if Inter's able to exploit our spaces, move the ball up quickly, Bastoni hitting players with his very direct passing because he's got really good weight on his passes, one of the best ball playing center backs in the game. If Serbi is able to lock down Morata with his dirty little tricks, his dark arts that he does, the way he shut down Holland, we're not good. We have no chance. But if we're able to do those key points that I said, at least two of them, we have a chance to at least get a tie. Yeah, that's a long time coming for me. Since I've moved out here, I haven't taken zero vacation time. None. I took some time off, a day off for my birthday, and a couple of days off when I got sick. I had strep throat, which was not fun at all. That sucked. All right. But other than that, I've been working I've been working 6 days a week since I've started, pretty much. All right. Make that cheddar. All right. Because I'm setting up for my retirement. All right. Open myself up a nice little coffee shop down here somewhere. And have people watch football all day, like a European cafe. That's the dream. Yeah, most likely that's going to happen. Same script, different casts, because we do have a different cast to a certain extent. Different coach. Midfielders are a little bit different, but All right, let's talk Milan. Thanks. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you next time. All right. If there's nothing else, I'm gonna be out. So anybody listening for the first time, tuning in, that's what I usually do now. So I have a couple of different tracks here that I loaded up on Restream, depending on my mood, depending on the message I want to put out. Like after yesterday's podcast, the last track was it's all hip hop stuff. Was talking about the podcasters out there that talk shit about Milan fans that have bad takes, bad analysis. So that was that track yesterday. Today, this is going to be about, since it's about the Derby, this is a this track I'll be playing on the closing the show out is kind of a take on the Curva Suits chant, Forza Ale, 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 Milan, Ale. All right. So enjoy the track. Just stay locked in for the next couple of minutes. And we'll see you again. I'll see you guys next week. All right. Forza Milan and Forza Milan Nation. All right. Take care.
Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, venture when the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town. Yo, it's red and black, the warriors strike back. From San Siro Knights to the frontline attack. With Maldini's ghosts, we defend like a wall. In the streets and the stands, we live for football. Tactics tight, we move with precision. AC Milan's more than just a mission. 7 on our chest, history in the air. When we step on the field, no opponent can compare. It's glory we seek, trophies we stack. Rossoneri forever, we never look back. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, venture when the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town. Yo, in the heart of the city, where legends are born. Through the sweat and the blood, our colors are worn. Defenders like steel, midfield like art. In this war of football, Milan stands apart. From Shepherd's Latin, kings of the game. Our passion runs deep, always chasing the flame. Yo, the curve is still chance, the whole world listens. AC Milan shines bright with ambition and vision. We rise through the struggle, we rise to the win. Rossoneri till the grave, let the dynasty begin. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, venture when the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town. In the heart of the city, where legends are born. Through the sweat and the blood, our colors are worn. Defenders like steel, midfield like art. In this war of football, Milan stands apart. From Shepherd's Latin, kings of the game. Our passion runs deep, always chasing the flame. Yo, the curve is still chance, the whole world listens. AC Milan shines bright with ambition and vision. We rise through the struggle, we rise to the win. Rossoneri till the grave, let the dynasty begin. Ale, Milan, Ale, we fight to the end. Forza, Lada, venture where the champions ascend. From the curve to the pitch, we hold it down. Rossoneri in the blood, we run this town.